It's like Zelensky canceled elections and has been a dictator for a year and has banned his opposition, even opposition that's pro-war, and shut down the Orthodox Church. So I'm ranting here, sir, but you got cut off by the break. That's a hard satellite break. We had to do it. You were recap and continue with the fact, because I was about to say to you, you started saying that 5 minutes ago. It seems to me canceling the election results and openly bragging there's been a NATO EU coup over Romania, something very fresh in the minds of Soviet coups, fresh in the minds, of your national experience, that would backfire and is a sign of serious desperation if you look at the Hegelian dialectics of it. So recap what you were saying. Go ahead.
It is. So, Alex, the most important point is that we have to know that this situation is not coming from now. I wish to remember all of you that UN was born in 1945 with one simple goal: peace. So from 1945 until today was not any more peace. And I have seen the situation inside, as insider, as whistleblower, as I am. I can tell you that never, ever was not real position in different meetings or conference or anyway, private one or under the radar one, whatever meetings there are, they didn't discuss real about peace. All the time was the position of the war. So the situation is not quite new. I mean, they invest a lot in the war everywhere. And we don't discuss only about Ukraine. You know very well that a lot of conflicts and a lot of situation, dangerous situation, there are already, and there are in the world, related with Syria, with Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, and many, many, many other places, particularly also Somalia, in Africa, and many others. So as whistleblower, I can tell you exactly this, that never they didn't discuss about peace. The interest was war. Why? Because behind the war all the time is a financial and banking system. And the bankers are behind. The bankers, they have interest to invest. They have interest after to invest in reconstruction. And of course, they have interest to clean the corruption. So what the Romanian people, they made those days, is that they expose the corruption. They expose a situation where we are right now as government, as state. And in the moment when we start to speak about peace, of course, they don't need this. They are alert, exactly as I said, they are alert to the word peace because they need war. Besides that, I declare that I will be a president of people, by the people, for the people of Romania. And of course, they don't need the people to be present. They don't need the sovereignty of the people. They don't need the people to elect themselves and to vote their person in order to represent them for welfare, for peace, for families. When I said particularly that I want to be a president to protect the children, to protect the families, they are already alert because they need the society to be divided. And this is the most important point, which is not only Romania, it's everywhere, as you know very well. So for this reason, we are looking to the President Trump in order to act about these situations and to give the real signal everywhere that the big shift and the change is already start. And here we are, and there are a lot of peoples and countries which they are coming. You have seen also the situation in Africa, many countries which they don't want to be anymore related with the colonialist system, particularly from Europe. Look what is happening in Asia, what is happening also in Europe. So there are a lot of places where we can see with our eyes that the people, they want to become again free. And this is very important for all of us.
President, it's crazy. You're the president. They admit you're the president, and they just canceled it. And now they're saying they're going to do it in Germany and other places, just normalizing it. And they're saying we have the military, and the EU Commission, as you know, was set up under trade cooperatives in 47 and then 40 and 56 with the Treaty of Rome.
Yeah.
And it's really dictatorial, and now it's taken the mask off out of desperation. But you hit something key. In the last few years, I've shown the German and French and British news, they say, get ready for a 20, 30-year war with Russia. Our new economy will be based on war. We need this war. I mean, they're even in Le Figaro and Der Spiegel and the Times of London admitting everything you just said. And people that don't know, you are a very well-known, established diplomat, high-level UN official, high-level Club of Rome. I want to spend some of the time we have, and please come back anytime. You've been very gracious, but in the 15 minutes we have left, where do you see this going with Romania? How, because I agree, long-term, you guys will win. What are they trying to establish to cement their coup? And then the EU Commission saying they'll just cancel German elections. What do you say to that? And then I want to go into, because I've seen your interviews, I've seen you go public over the years, about you're a good guy that wants peace. You're a well-respected person, and you get into the Club of Rome, and you get into the highest levels of the UN governance system, and you find out what's happening, and you start going public, and then you get into the human trafficking, you get into all of it. You could spend some time on that as well. So that's a lot of questions. But where do you see Romania going? I agree, long-term, you can only win. They've taken the mask off. Tyrants always fall. And then speaking to the globalists, what makes them tick?
So, look, we are accused, and I'm accused about the fascism in general, the Romanian people, but the real fascists are the globalists, are the oligarchs. And of course, they cannot recognize this, but step by step, the situation will be proved. Particularly also that, this wave, as I said, started by the Romanian people, will not stop. It's a snowball effect, which in fact will collect the whole world in the process of freedom, in the process of to reinstall the democracy, a real democracy. The participation of the people during the democracy, not only to call the people each 4 years, and after that, you don't discuss about the people. For this reason, I said, I wish to be a president of the people, by the people, for the people of Romania. And of course, they don't need the people to participate, Alex, in the process of democracy. And we expose, and this is very important, the corruption, which is inside the system, which is not a system from the last, let's say, 35 years, particularly in Romania. We discuss also about another 45 before 1989. So there are almost 80 years of, let's say, of communism, which in fact, the communism and the capitalism is more or less the same, because they want to control the market. They want to control the people. They want to impose just the big corporations in order to control the life of the people. And the people remain slaves in the position just to receive the salary and in fact to do exactly what they want. And all the system which was made in the world is wrong. So we have to change the system, not to change the people. So for this reason, my position was to change also the economy, the vision of economy. So for this reason, I wish to spread the private the productive property everywhere, to spread the power of the people to each citizenship. Each of citizens of Romania have to have power enough and to be free again and to be independent in a sense of economy. Each family to be grow up, to be healthy, and to be in the spirit of welfare and to communicate all of us. Because the last point is that the people, they don't receive the love from the state, Alex. I am Christian Orthodox, and we know very well as Romanian people that God protect us, and we believe in God. We believe in our land. So we need love between us. We need to be together. We don't want to be separate. And exactly the system divide us. Exactly this was the situation, not only Romania, everywhere. So here we are. And of course, all the institutions, including United Nations and others, they have to be rebuilt again. To rebuild in a sense of a spirit of humanity, because besides that we can lose the nation, we can lose the freedom, we can lose the humanity from us if we are not very, very strong right now. So I am very proud again that Romania is doing this step forward, and I hope really that all the nations will follow.
Well, I totally agree. I mean, how can you have the EU canceling elections with NATO and saying they'll cancel the German election next? They've just revealed themselves. It totally discredits them. But just briefly, what do you think the process will be to removing the coup peacefully and then having you be the president or have a new election? I mean, what are you pushing for?
Well, I think I can tell you, Alex, even our interview today, and there are a lot of pressure from outside, from international, let's say, social media, okay, and also international media as well, but also the pressure from the street. They put them in the position that they have to revise their let's say their position, in a sense, to come back to the, let's say, to better understanding that the people, they they will don't come back home, they will don't come back in their house, they remain on the street, and permanently they are looking for the second round. And this is not only Romania. Probably you have seen there are many countries in Europe. We have seen in Paris, we have seen in Rome, in Italy, we have seen in Netherlands, we have seen in UK, and everywhere the Romanian people, they are on the street and they ask with dignity for their freedom.
It's incredible. It shows how desperate the globalists are. I mean, look, they said Trump was a Russian agent. It turned out it was all fake and made up to try to remove him from office. I mean, this is insane. In the few minutes we have left, the 8 minutes we have left, can you speak to being at the highest levels of the UN and Club of Rome? Because I've followed it, I'm aware of it, but kind of recap for listeners about what makes them tick, what their goals are, and just a snapshot of what you discovered.
Well, I mean, UN is, how I can say, is almost in the position that of collapse, and the Club of Rome as well. So in my opinion, all these institutions are already, how I can say, controlled, not only from now, by oligarchs. Just to give you an example, that UN, it's very, very strong related to its World Economic Forum in Davos. So whatever the World Economic Forum dictates, UN follow, which is amazing what is going on. And even to implement Agenda 2030, it's their mechanism in order to impose the poverty, in order to impose the control of the people, in order to impose the smart cities, as you know very well. They want to impose also the global warming. And of course, any major fire or flood will justify just global warming. And of course, all these things are not natural disasters, are man-made. And we know very well these things. So the planet and all the world, Alex, they can give to us everything we need, but for sure the planet cannot cover our greed, or in fact part of the people which they control, the oligarch system, which they try to control the greed, and they impose this situation everywhere. The situation is almost changed. And nobody can stop this wave. Nobody can stop this wave. It's just a matter of fact. So in any case, even that the justice is not straight, is not the justice, in fact, the power of the people on the street and the pressure will impose that the change.
I totally agree with you. The globalists are already beaten. They're just hanging on for as long as they can. But they know. Elon Musk said last week, the woke mind virus is dead. I said 2 weeks ago, the globalism is, as a system, is over. The question is, how much damage can they cause as we try to peacefully remove them?
Yeah, the only thing which I can tell you, of course, but I'm sure that will not happen. But in any case, it's a dramatic situation. Is to impose and to start the war, in a sense, the third war in Ukraine. And the real door for this is Romania. Without Romania, they cannot control this war. But already, the people on the street, they demonstrate to all of them that we don't play games. And for sure, I can tell you, Alex, that they are afraid more than the people are afraid about them. The fear is already in the system, which they didn't believe that the people can control the situation and the people to impose their self, their democracy, and their freedom. This is a real fear which the system has right now. And this is
Well,
absolutely
absolutely. To
sure.
openly have a coup and say they're going to have coups in Germany over the election, that is a totally discrediting in-stage collapse of their system. And I meant to bring this up front, so I'm glad you raised it. Scott Bennett, great reporter, died when he came back from Ukraine just a few months ago, former Army intelligence officer. He said 6 months ago on the show, look for Romania with NATO to be the detonator for full world war, because there's Romanian troops in Ukraine, and if they don't like the way the elections go or things happen, they could do a coup in Romania, and then Romania could claim that Russia was doing something to them and then implement the article of NATO, was Article 5, so that NATO could try to directly come in. Because obviously Ukraine's not officially part of NATO yet, but Romania is. General Flynn has warned of that, and now this has happened. Are they trying to get full control of Romania to use it as the pretext to go to full war with Russia and bring NATO officially in?
I told you in the early beginning that EU was to control NATO before the official nomination of President Trump on the 20th. So this is very dangerous, because already looks that he is divided in two, because simply the position of President Trump was absolutely very clear. We are looking for peace, was absolutely clear. And of course, they try to push more and more in order to control the war before the nomination of President
Trump.
Trump.
Sure, to escalate it out of his control.
Yeah. So, in the moment when they controlled via Rutte, Mr. Rutte, the chief of NATO, they try to impose their rules and to push how much is possible the third war in the region particularly via Romania. This is a more dangerous position which we have to face right now, because they have just slaves in this position of power. They have power holders. They are not leaders. In fact, there are very few leaders in the world right now. And in Romania, they have just puppets. And via these puppets, they want to control the war and to impose the war how fast is possible before the President Trump nomination on the 20th.
That's right. They're in a race to do it. In closing, 2 minutes left. How do people aid Romania in having their vote counted? We always hear about America helping countries that are under tyranny. You're under an EU NATO coup. They're bragging about it. How do we follow your party? It's not election meddling. I supported the Chinese peacefully protesting in Tiananmen Square in the late 1980s, and what happened there? I mean, this idea that it's meddling, that we're against you having your election canceling, is just preposterous. This is so dangerous. How do we support what you're doing, and what else would you like to impart in closing?
So please spread everywhere. Please try to insist in the social media, particularly to this situation, and please try particularly to aware the President Trump administration that the situation here is not very easy, and this, for his mandate, it's a risk if they use Romania as a door to war. And this is the most important part, because Romania is the most important part in this moment in this game, in order to promote and to develop the war as soon as possible how they wish. So we have to be together, all of us, particularly in social media. And thank you very much for this interview. Please also spread everywhere this conversation which we had, and also insist that a lot of people to be engaged in this situation, and not only from United States, for the whole world. Thank you.
President Georgescu, I can't wait till you become the president, whether it's this month or a year from now, whenever it is, we stop nuclear war. And I want to come visit your great country. I've heard great things about it. We have a lot of listeners there. But absolutely, NATO admits they want to use Romania as the trigger because it's already in NATO to go to war. This is madness. People should follow you on X. Anywhere else they should follow you?
Just, I wish to say thank you again. And we strongly believe in God, which was permanently, and He is with us. We strongly believe in God. We strongly believe in our land.
Godspeed, President. Godspeed. Thank you.